Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where things are going very, very well for us at this point. We have 123 million in our GDP, that's number 7, and we're creeping up on the French Republic here. We're getting closer. We're also working on right of assembly, which isn't exactly what I'd like to be focused on at this moment, but it's fine. We're gonna get that passed quite quickly, so that looks great. In the meantime, of course, we're working on getting all of our construction on our extraction done. And we'll work on getting some actual construction in industrialization after we get all of this completed. But we should keep in mind, we're getting very close to the end of the game, and we need to decide, is this something that we want to take into overtime or not? I'm not going to make that decision right now. And by overtime, I mean just continuing the game beyond the end date. I'm not going to make that decision right now, but I will say I'm currently leaning towards no on that. I feel like we've accomplished most of the interesting things that we're going to, so that's my current thinking on that. But if something changes in the next 5 years and I want to take it a little longer, it might end up happening. Odds are good that we're going to just say, you know what, it's good. We're in a good position and end it at the end date, but we'll see. It's always an option. So for now, we are definitely seeing cotton plantation construction. That's fine. And we know that our primary issue right now is simply a lack of workers, right? That's by far the biggest issue that we have at this moment. So that's absolutely understood. It's going to be really interesting, now that we're on universal suffrage, to see what our next election results are going to look like. I'm not actually sure how that's going to go. That'll be interesting. I think it's going to go pretty well, though, given the radicalism situation. So there is that. Also, I wish that this didn't reset every time I restarted the game. I wish that this graph went back a little further than a year. It doesn't actually reset when I restart the game. It's just over the last year. I wish that that graph was like over the last decade, maybe. That would be nice. Or if it was adjustable. That would be good too. But like this one is from the beginning of the game, as is this one. As is this one. And this one. The loyalism is the only graph up here that is actually only 1 year long. I wish it was longer than a year. No doubt about that. Well, for the moment, let's continue to work here, and we'll see what happens with right of assembly. Odds are very good that, yeah, it just progresses straight into voting. That's expected. Are the trade unions still opposing this? Oh, yeah, they are. I don't know why. Trade unions, what are you guys thinking right now? Authoritarian. That's why they're opposing it. Authoritarian ideology from leader. So, is this guy our current president? No. Our president is from the rural folk. And that kind of makes sense. That he would be... He's a radical ideology. But the current authoritarian streak in the trade unions comes from this guy. So that makes sense. He just doesn't fit very well in the trade union ideology. So there's that. Okay. And yeah, they strongly endorse, they should endorse right of assembly, but it's because of their leadership. So that makes sense. I get that. That's understandable. At this point, our oil rigs are being worked on. That looks great. And sulfur mines are being worked on as well. So all of this is going to finish up fairly soon. We're going to start working on all of our farming very shortly. And we've got some additional sulfur mines, rice farms, yeah. There's just a bunch of stuff in this queue. And we do have... Oh, this is foreign and domestic. I want domestic only for the moment. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. We can see that there are some additional locations that we can build in at this point. So that's understood. If we go into our resources here, there are some additional coal mines that we can build in Isfahan. I'm queuing these up at the end of the list. So iron mines, we're going to queue these up at the end of the list. And lead mines, that looks good. Great Britain is enforcing military access, good for them. We do have some additional logging camps to work on here. We're going to get all of these completed. There we go. Anarchism unlocked, sure. And then we have a couple of fishing wharves that we can put in here at this point. So that looks good. That's all of the resource extraction that we can do domestically. So that looks great. We advanced here. That's a really unfortunate roll. That's a 16%. I mean, it's still a positive roll, right? But it is unfortunate. We'll take it. We're up to 84 at this point. Okay, so I do want to get some additional agriculture construction done here. You can see we do have some arable land. So we need to sort by earnings here. 0.99, 0.8, 0.85. And this is all going to change in theory. 0.72, 0.97. Okay, this opium plantation we should definitely build. D. We should build tea. Okay. So we're going to do something like that. That's all the tea plantations that we can build at this point. Then we can go for some opium plantations. There's only a couple of these that we can make. Something like that. And that's all of our arable land. Okay, looks good. So that's all queued up. We've got 29 months on completing our extraction there. India is offering us military assistance. We accept that. That looks great. So our GDP is continuing to climb here. We're at 127 million. The French are up to 151, so they're really not really skyrocketing. They're kind of catapulting all over. They were at 134. They seem like they fluctuate between around 100 and like 170, something like that. So that's definitely something to think about. We're a lot more stable of an economy than France. But we're a little bit smaller of an economy. So that's absolutely... We are, of course, going to get through these farms very quickly, but we need a lot more people. India is attempting to sway us to their side in their diplomatic play against the Indian reactionary revolt. We accept that. I'm not sure how much we can actually help them. So there's that. We can mobilize this army and send it down to here. I'm not going to do a significant amount of additional work here, but we can start cleaning up some of these fronts where they don't have anything significant. So that'll be reasonably fine for right now. And we're not that concerned about this overall. I mean, India's probably got this under control, right? This is India. This is the Indian reactionary revolt. Okay, that's a little spooky. But regardless, we're not going to go too hard on that. So that looks fine. When is this actually going to escalate? Yeah, that's going to be a little bit. Okay, we've really neglected our military, and that's understood. We're just relying on Britain at this point, and we've been focusing hard on our economy. And it's paying off. There's no doubt about it. It's paying off. We're just abusing our relationship with Britain at this point. And that's fine. We're very happy about that situation. So we see our investment pool is quite large and growing at this time. And we're also very interested in getting more population. We're up to an annual projected pop growth of an additional 10K. So that's almost 1K per month. That's not bad. That's definitely improving. But we're not really doing anything to improve it. It's just natural improvement, right? So I'd really like to get a right of assembly passed here and see what else we can do. Okay, so we're currently down over here. Right of assembly is passed, as expected. 84% chance that was pretty much always going to happen. And the next law that we would love to go for, we could get off of mercantilism. That would be very interesting. We could go to, like, protectionism or free trade. That's a potential option. Another option would be cultural exclusion. That would be difficult to go for right now. So that's maybe not the best situation there. We can't go for public health insurance at this time. Enactment success chance would not be high enough. Noted. Industrialists and the ulema oppose it. The trade unions are the only ones who endorse it. The trade unions are in government right now, right? Actually, no, it's the industrialists. Okay, So that is noted. There's not a lot that we can do there. Now, we could go off of legal guardianship into propertied women. That would switch us over from a 5% birth rate increase over to a 5% workforce ratio. The question is that a good long-term move? Ultimately, probably, once we get down to, like, women's suffrage with that 15% workforce ratio. But we might not want to go here. We might want to go directly to women's suffrage. Because giving up on the 5% birth rate for only a 5% workforce ratio is probably not worthwhile. So that is something to consider, no doubt about that. For that, of course, we'd have to invent feminism. And where are we on that right now? So feminism, I don't even remember where it is in the tree here. It's somewhere down here, I think. Human rights into feminism. Okay, so that's going to take a while to research. Unfortunately, what is currently being exposed is civilizing mission. That's bad luck. So I think we're going to go human rights into feminism, but that's not going to be researched before the end of the game, so that's understood. We'll continue to construct for now. The government petition was successful. And the question now is, does that give us any leeway with the industrialists being capped on their approval? Maybe. Let's see what's available here. We could go for free trade. We would lose a little revenue from the current tariff law, but that's probably fine, ultimately, because that will bring down the price of imports. And we do a fair amount of importation. We're also negative on our convoys. We should do something about that. Okay, that's definitely something that we should take action on. For the time being, I want to find a law first, so that'll be okay. I'm okay with being on dedicated police force for the moment. Let's see. There's not too much going on up over here. We could go to poor laws. The landowners will radicalize, but they're marginalized. So that seems okay by me. Let's go ahead and take poor laws, and that'll be fine. Now, we do absolutely need to deal with these convoys. So first things first, I want to go into ports. And Iranian Hormuz is actually going to need more infrastructure as well. That's noted. Each port is currently going to be giving 7 infrastructure. Do we have any... What's our production methods on our ports? Let's see here. We are on industrial port. Okay. So this is plus 22 infrastructure. For the overall amount, maybe? Per level modifiers is saying 7 infrastructure here. So that would mean that we would need to expand this a fair amount. And this is where I'm going to do this. So each level of these is going to give 175 convoys. This is going to be way too many convoys. So I'm going to build 1 level port here. That'll give us enough convoys. And then we should build railways in these other locations that we need infrastructure. So that would be in Urmia, in Kerman, and in Iranian Hormuz, like that. So that'll be a total of 47 infrastructure in Iranian Hormuz, and that will be wonderful. So power plants, probably not an issue right now. We have a transportation shortage in Khorasan. What's going on with that? This needs to be subsidized. So we'll get that going. We're probably going to need another level of railway soon in Khorasan, especially if we're building there right now. We're building in Urmia. Okay, let's see if we've got any Khorasans coming up here. Not for a while is the answer. Not really at all. There's a little bit. We've got an opium plantation there. Okay, so that's noted. We probably don't need too much, but getting that going will still be relatively fine. Now, I want to check in on government administrations. So how are we doing on taxation capacity? No problem. And I want to check in also on universities. We can get a little bit more. So we can get a grand total of about 6.3. So we're currently 3 innovations. That would mean 3 universities in theory. So I'm going to queue up 3 universities in Iraqi Ajami like that. Okay, so that should be all the infrastructure that we need for the time being. We'll get those completed, and that will go fairly... Wonderful. So that is all going nicely, and I'm thinking about expanding our construction further. I'm definitely thinking about it. That said, we're not going to get arc welding before the end of the game. Okay, so that war broke out. That's noted. Infrastructure in Kerman is low. That's one of the locations where we're building a railway, right? Right. Okay. So that seems absolutely fine, but what I want to do right now is I want to sort by job seekers. Mazandaran does have about 200k looking for jobs. So I'm going to build here. And yes, this is going to be expensive. We understand that. I'm going to do another 25 in Mazandaran. That's going to be a lot. So we're going to work on these one at a time. I want to select the army that we have here. Okay, we do have a leader here. This will be fine. So we're just participating in this singular front for right now. And if India loses this... What is India's setup here? This is really awkward. Okay. I don't really want to risk too much on this. I don't feel like India wins this, to be honest. So I think we're going to have to see how the Indian reactionary revolt views us. But I don't really want to try too hard to fight them, you know? So we have this battle ongoing that we are losing. Okay. Well, in that case... we're going home. India, you're on your own. Later, nerds. I'm sure they're going to be very happy about that. But I think that India is going to lose this, and it's going to be the Indian reactionary revolt. It doesn't matter if we lose our relationship with India. That's not all that relevant to us. So that'll be absolutely fine. We're finishing up these construction sectors, and as you can see, we're quite negative financially, but we have huge gold reserves. So that's wonderful. We're overall very, very happy about that. And how are we doing on our job seeker? Okay, so hang on. Does job seekers in this, does this include people who are seeking new jobs? Yes. A working adult with negative job satisfaction who is not working in a government building or in a building being subsidized. So this is people who are potentially already working, but who might be interested in switching over. So really, there's also the peasants and there's the unemployed, right? These are the numbers that are far more important to us. Job seekers, this is people who may or may not already be useful, right? So that's definitely a bit of a concern. So we're growing by about 250,000 a year at this point, and we definitely want to change that. Enacting poor laws is going to bring up our standard of living a decent amount for the very poorest. And that's absolutely wonderful. We are happy to do that because that will increase our migration attraction. So that's a great thing to work on. Unfortunately, with the industrialists in power, things are going to be a little tough for us right now. Debate here, huh? What are the odds on that? 38? Sure. So 15% enactment success chance sounds good. I don't want to take the setback, and this is the same option anyway. This is a 15% enactment success chance and 2% of lower strata. Oh, 2% of upper strata. Gotcha. So this is kind of worse, but I'm going to take it, and that'll be fine. So that's going to get us a bunch of radicalism there, or more specifically, we're going to lose a bunch of loyalists, but that's fine. They'll come back. We're okay with that. So checking in here, how are things looking? Market access in Iranian Hormuz, yeah, that's not surprising. And we can see that we are quite positive in our convoys at this juncture, so things are looking very good on that front. We do need to get these railways completed, of course. So we'll get those done fairly soon, and our construction is ongoing. We've got 19 months left on that, and we're building quite quickly. However, our bureaucracy is pretty low. How long on that 10% timed modifier? Administrative strain is, let's see here, we can see that in here. 5 months? Okay, so that's going to be improving significantly very shortly. Excellent. How much are we constructing now? Approximately 2.5 pages when you factor in the construction efficiency. Actually, maybe a little bit more. That's not bad. I like it. So that looks good. We're not even on arc welding at this point. Britain is offering us military assistance, which we'll accept. So India is definitely losing against their reactionaries, and that's why we bailed. Minus 5% authority, we're already negative on that. We'll ignore this. It's minus 1 standard of living in that area, which isn't great, but poor laws will help. Okay, what do we got going on in here? Yeah, market access is a bit on the low side, particularly in Iranian Hormuz, which is understood. We have our railway going to finish there in just 2 weeks, so that seems absolutely wonderful. And our GDP is continuing to increase, but at this point it is primarily population constrained, and that's what we need to figure. So that's absolutely understood. And the war with the Indian reactionary revolt, that's going to end eventually, and we'll see what our relationship with India is like after that. India is going to lose this. There's nothing that we could have done, so we just went home to preserve our manpower. So that'll be absolutely fine. And we can see here our radicalism is ticking downward. Poor laws progressed up to study there. That's a pretty decent roll. But we've got an almost 70% chance of a good roll here. So that's looking absolutely great. We have all of these farms finishing up, and we have urbanized Iran. Okay. Isfahan is loyalist from political movements or the urban center building throughput. We're going to take the urban center building throughput. Thank you very much. We're a bit low on our GDP right now. This is probably due to market access issues, although those are improving now that Britain's war is over. Market access in Iranian Hormuz is still low, and I'm wondering what's happening with that. Railway needs to be subsidized, for sure. We need to hire in here, and that's absolutely what needs to happen here. Not because of transportation, but because of infrastructure. So that needs to happen. And yes, India did indeed lose. So India is now cautious towards us, and I'm wondering... Yeah, so they are now a completely different entity. That's understood. Completely and totally fine. The new power block of the Universal League has been formed by India. Interesting. Well, they can do that if they like. We're not trying to make any power block plays. We're just trying to get ourselves to be in the position where we're basically a great power, right? That's the idea here. We're currently a minor power, and if we wanted to upgrade that, we would definitely have to become independent. No doubt about that. Yeah, we would have to become independent, limiting us to a maximum score position of number 16, which we are at our maximum position. So that's understood. We would have to get free from Britain, and for that, we would have to work heavily on our military. The question is that something we want to do? For right now, I'm far more interested in getting our economy as good as it's going to get, which is, it's pretty close to there, to be honest. Yes, it would be great to, especially when we go for independence, have a lot of industrialization in place, right? Because once we leave the British market, things are going to get spicy for us real quick. We're going to have a lot of shortages of a lot of things. And that's absolutely understood. So that would be a very major concern to getting free from Britain. The other option, in terms of real history, of course, would be to just wait until after World War II. But, I mean, this isn't real history, but that would be a potential option. That's in, 12 years, World War II will be over. So that's absolutely understood. At this point, we're working on a bunch of farms, and those will be finishing up very shortly, actually. We're very nearly done with our farms. We should move up some of these, so let's go to page 15 here. Yeah, so this opium plantation should be moved up. We should move up all of these guys, because this is all positive construction efficiency. So that looks good. And then there's all of these that are positive construction efficiency. They can get done nice and quickly. What else might we have in here? Okay, that's pretty much it. So we had a law debate success here. We went up to a 45% chance. And that chance came out of debate, not advance. So we've got really, really good chance of getting poor laws passed here. In fact, it's an incredibly good chance. So that's looking wonderful, and we're getting a lot of construction done right now. This is down to 9 months because we are no longer having the minus 18% construction efficiency, so that's absolutely noted. And keep in mind, that's because the trade unions are very salty. They'll get over eventually. The trade unions also opposed the recent change from landed voting to universal suffrage. Okay, you guys got to get that leadership situation under control, trade unions. You've been co-opted. Well, it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to get a bunch of this construction finished up. We're down to 12 pages left of it, and then we're going to be able to... There is actually more arable land in here, noted. We're going to be able to get a little bit more of that done, but we're incredibly, incredibly close to getting our extraction economy maximized. So that's looking great. We're up to 134.7 million GDP. Everything is looking good. Okay, we went down to 126. Whatever, it's close enough. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very... Hang on a moment. We just had an election. Who won? I didn't even look at that. Let's see here. This would be very similar. Noted. So the Free Trade Party got 40%. Yeah, this is going to be a little awkward, but we'll make it work. Again, you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Andy McGard, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.